Hurricane Michael closing in on the Florida Panhandle, an area that has never seen such a powerful storm. Officials say the Cat 4 is getting stronger by the minute, with sustained winds now topping 145 miles per hour. Earlier, I spoke to Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Joining me now is Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Good morning to you, Senator Rubio.
Good morning, Sandra.
I know that you've been in touch with authorities on this hurricane, the National Hurricane Center. You've been speaking to the director. What do you want the people of your state to hear and know right now as we await this storm?
Well, it almost becomes cliche-ish, but it's about taking it seriously. Unfortunately, people that have lived through multiple storms sometimes ascribe the attributes of the last storm to this one. Every storm is different, but this storm is a monstrosity. It's now at 145 miles an hour, and it's not going to weaken as it comes in. And the wind is one thing. The water is what we're really concerned about. The water is what kills the most people, that storm surge, and it's not survivable at 6 to 9 feet. You're not going to survive that. And so I'm deeply concerned that a lot of people have not evacuated that were ordered to evacuate. And frankly, some of them couldn't afford to evacuate. They didn't have cars, they didn't have ways to get out. And I'm just very, very concerned about loss of life right now.
So what is being done about that? Because obviously you're talking about the storm surge, which is estimated could reach as high as 13 feet in some areas. As far as evacuation shelters, what about the response that is being planned right now?
Well, I talked to numerous local officials across several counties, Panama City Beach, and other places that are going to be deeply impacted. And they were doing the best they could. They can't force people to leave. They can't force people to leave their homes and go away. But all you can do is continue to alert people to this reality. Ultimately, people make these choices. It's probably too late right now. I would say if you have a chance to get out and you've been told to get out and you have a way to do it safely at this point, you should do it. As far as the response is concerned, the one thing I'm going to keep a very close eye on is I-10. That's our east-west corridor that runs right through the Big Bend and the Florida Panhandle. It's kind of the main artery that feeds that area from the east and the west. And there's going to be downed trees. There's going to be signs in the road. The most important thing we need to be able to do after the storm is to clear those roads, because they're going to be vital to getting assistance in and aid moving forward.
Meanwhile, Senator Rubio, it was about this time yesterday that we were learning someone close to you, Nikki Haley, had offered her resignation at her post as UN ambassador. Seemed to take all of D.C. by surprise, even the most inside of insiders. What was your reaction to that news?
Well, I was surprised it was yesterday that it was announced. I'm not surprised that she's doing it. Most people that serve at the post, they're about 2.25 years, so this is about right. She's announced it's going to be the end of the year. That was always been her plan. And she served 2 years in that role, or will have served 2 years. And I think the way she did it is she kind of kept it close until the end and then told the president first, because the way this town works, if you tell 3 people, you told the Washington Post and the New York Times. And she wanted to make that announcement on her own terms, so it wasn't part of a broader speculation, and allows her to finish her job here through the end of the year. So we're going to miss her. She did an incredible job there. She really did. And I'm sure she has great things ahead of her in her future, and perhaps other opportunities to serve our country in the administration or in some other capacity. But, you know, there's nothing unusual about after 2 years moving on. It's been, you know, pretty average in terms of what others have done. And I think about 10 of them have served less time than she did.
There's been a lot of speculation in the wake of her departure about the timing of her departure and sort of the sudden nature of it. You felt compelled to write a tweet based on that speculation, and you said even by today's low standards, the baseless speculation from some journalists about potential reasons why Nikki Haley is resigning is stunning. Her predecessor served an average of a little over 2 years, but let's make something up anyway. Ridiculous. Why did you feel you needed to address that?
Because, you know, I read some of these tweets that are put out there by journalists, and that's one of the things that Twitter's done. It's allowed you to just put whatever's in your mind out there for the public. I guess we're all guilty of that from time to time. But when it comes to a journalist, it doesn't go through it. There's no sourcing necessary. You just put it out there, and it implies that there's something nefarious or there's a problem or this is political. She just announced it yesterday. It's not like she's leaving immediately. Yeah. She'll leave at the end of the year. I thought the way she did it was very professionally. It gives the White House about 2.5 months to now begin to think about the process of a replacement and line that up. We wouldn't be able to move on the confirmation anyway until after the elections.
Well, that is the question, who will replace her. You've been an integral part of her entire process and her post there. You attended her swearing-in ceremony, and you are take keen interest in foreign policy. This will dramatically change the way our foreign policy is looked at. Who would you like to see in her position?
Well, I'm not going to get into naming names. That's the president's decision to make. I'm confident they have good candidates. There's a number of people that could do a good job there, and they're going to go. The president needs to pick that person. He won that election. He's the president of the United States. That's his proper role. Our job is to provide advice and consent in that regard. But suffice it to say that I think there are 3 or 4 names that I know they're considering, all of whom will do a good job, and it just depends on whether they're at a point in their life where they want to do it. But we've got good people that could serve in that role. Nikki will be missed. It's difficult to replace someone like that, but I'm confident the White House will find someone very good to be America's voice on the global stage.
Senator Marco Rubio, we are hoping and praying for the people of your state and those states affected and in the path of this monstrous hurricane headed that direction. Thank you for the update, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.